She walked into the living room like a stranger, holding divorce papers in one hand and a cold smile in the other. I still remember the sound her heels made on the hardwood floor that evening. It was sharp, precise like a countdown, ticking toward an explosion I hadn't been warned about. Madison had always walked with purpose, but that night, something was different. There was no warmth in her steps, just distance. Cold, rehearsed distance. We'd been married for 9 years. 9 years of morning coffees together, late-night arguments that always ended in tired laughter, and quiet Sundays spent binge-watching crime shows we both pretended not to like. But this didn't feel like my wife walking toward me. It felt like a woman delivering a message she couldn't wait to escape from. She stood in front of me, barely blinking. Her lips were painted a deeper red than usual, and her perfume, my favorite one, the vanilla scent I had gifted her on our 5th anniversary, hung in the air like a lie. Then she dropped them. The papers, right on the coffee table. Divorce papers. No fight, no explanation, no tears. Just papers and a calm, flat voice saying, "I think it's time we stop pretending, Aaron. I want a clean break. I'm keeping the house." I didn't speak. I couldn't. It was like my brain had lost all vocabulary in that moment. Earlier that week, we had been celebrating, well, she had. Her great-uncle Henry, whom she hadn't seen since her teenage years, had passed away and left her his estate. Over $10 million in investments, land, and stocks. She had cried when she told me. Cried, not out of grief, but disbelief. And I had held her, told her I was proud of her, that maybe this windfall was our chance to finally travel, buy that cabin in Colorado, or at least pay off the stupid credit cards we always complained about. But she didn't seem interested in us anymore. Not after the money came. At first, I thought it was the shock. People change under pressure. Grief, responsibility, sudden wealth. It all messes with the mind. She started sleeping in the guest room, said she needed space. She'd stay out late, meeting with financial advisors, but never had answers when I asked simple questions like, "What firm?" or "Can I come with you?" She changed her passwords. Her phone, once casually left on the kitchen counter, was now glued to her side like a second skin. She laughed less, and when she did, it wasn't with me. The night she handed me the papers, she didn't flinch, didn't cry, didn't even raise her voice. Just told me I needed to move out within 30 days. "You'll be taken care of. I've arranged a temporary settlement." It's all in the document. Like I was a business transaction. Like the man who held her when she got her first rejection letter from law school. The man who worked double shifts when her mom was in the hospital. Like I was just a footnote in her new chapter. I finally found my voice. It cracked like an old radio. "Why? Why now, Mads? You said we'd figure things out together." She looked me dead in the eyes. There's a flicker, something behind them, but it was gone in a second. "Because I'm tired, Aaron. Tired of pretending I'm happy. Tired of playing house with someone who never saw me. Never saw her. I had given her everything. My time, my loyalty, my patience. I even gave up my dream of starting my own business just to keep our finances stable. But now all that was dust. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on the edge of the bed in the guest room. The same bed she used to crawl into when she couldn't fall asleep alone. And I replayed everything. The sudden inheritance. The way she started dressing up more. The distant hugs. The locked phone. The disinterest in our future. And a thought crept into my mind. Slow, ugly, poisonous. What if this wasn't about money? What if this was about someone else? But I shook it off. Madison wouldn't do that. She was too proud. Too honest. To us. Wasn't she? 2 days passed. I didn't sign the papers. I didn't leave the house. She avoided me like I was there, but not worth noticing. On the 3rd day, I came home early from work. She wasn't expecting me. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. But her voice was not. She was in the kitchen, on the phone, whispering, "Yeah, he hasn't signed them yet. I don't care. I just want this over with. I'll come over tonight." I didn't move. I couldn't. Something inside me broke and twisted into something else. Not anger, not sadness. Clarity. This wasn't just about money. This wasn't about not being seen. This was about someone else. And I wasn't going to leave without knowing who. That night, I stared at the divorce papers again. 34 pages of legalese that tried to sum up a decade of shared life. At the end, there was a clause. All property rights waived by Aaron Morgan, including the house. She wanted it all, and she thought I'd go quietly. She didn't know the man she was trying to erase. That night, I wrote in my journal, something I hadn't touched in years. She's not the same woman I married, but maybe, just maybe, she's the same woman she's always been. And I was too blind to see it. Money doesn't change people. It only reveals who they were hiding all along. I wanted to believe it was just the money, that something about inheriting millions overnight had snapped something inside Madison. People lose themselves when their bank accounts start to overflow. I've seen it in friends, in strangers, in headlines. But never did I think I'd see it in my own wife. Not Madison. She was always the grounded one, the planner, the one who budgeted every grocery run to the cent, who never cared about brands or flashy things. She used to scoff at the women who flaunted their husband's money like a badge of pride. She was proud of the life we built. At least I thought she was. But something changed the moment that inheritance landed in her account. It started with her phone. Before, she used to leave it on the kitchen counter, face up, untouched while we watched TV or ate dinner. Now it was always on silent, always locked, always face down. The passcode changed. The text message previews disappeared. She'd jump if it buzzed, even mid-sentence. And she started smiling at it. Soft little smiles. The kind she used to save for me when I told bad jokes or kissed the back of her neck in the morning. I remember asking her once, trying to be playful, "Who's the lucky client making you blush like that?" She didn't even look up. Just business stuff. Nothing that concerns you. It stung, but I laughed it off. Told myself I was being insecure. Paranoid. She was under pressure. She had new responsibilities. Lawyers, taxes, financial advisors. But deep down, something didn't sit right. She started changing the way she dressed, too. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved seeing her take care of herself. She was beautiful in sweatpants and stunning in heels. But there was something off about the sudden makeover. The tighter dresses, the brand name heels, the fresh blowouts, the red lipstick, always red, like a signature. It wasn't just for her. It was for someone who wasn't me. I tried to talk to her, really talk. Sat her down in the kitchen one night while she sipped from her wine glass and barely looked at me. "Mads, are we okay? Like really okay? Because this feels like we're drifting." She set her glass down, crossed her arms. "Aaron, you think money makes people bad? Maybe it just sets them free. Maybe I've been pretending for too long." That hit me like a slap. Pretending? To love me? To want this life? Are you saying you were never happy? She didn't answer, just stood up and walked away. That silence was louder than any scream. I spent that night on the couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering when exactly things had shifted. Was it after the inheritance? Or had the rot started before that? Quietly, slowly. And I'd just been too in love to notice? I thought about the vacations we never took. The fights we smoothed over with cheap wine and tired kisses. The nights she'd cry in the bathroom, thinking I didn't hear her. Had I missed the signs? Or had she hidden them so well because she knew what was coming? The next day, I left work early. I told my boss I was sick, which wasn't a lie. I was sick with suspicion, with fear, with the kind of ache you can't name. When I got home, the house was empty, her car gone, but her laptop wasn't. It sat on the dining table, open, still logged in, careless. And for the first time in our entire marriage, I crossed a line. I clicked on her email. Most of it was routine. Legal documents, financial updates, property transfers. But then I saw it, a thread titled, he hasn't signed yet. I clicked. My heart raced. The first message was from someone named Z. No full name, just the letter. "We need him out before the appraisal. The longer he stays, the riskier this gets." And Madison had replied, "He's suspicious, but I'll handle it. Just stay calm." There was more. Hidden messages, code words, deleted attachments. I scrolled further. One line stopped me cold. "Once the house is legally mine, he'll be out of our lives for good." Our lives. She wasn't alone in this. She wasn't acting crazy from sudden wealth. She was in this with someone else. I closed the laptop, hands shaking, stomach twisted. It wasn't about money. It wasn't about freedom. It was about removal. I was a pawn they were pushing off the board. That night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. That night, I didn't confront her. I couldn't. Not yet. I needed more. Proof. Answers. Names. But mostly, I needed to understand how the woman I loved, trusted, and protected for almost a decade had turned into this stranger with secrets and lipstick smiles meant for someone else. When she came home that night, I watched her from the hallway as she checked her phone, giggled, and typed something quickly. Then she noticed me. What? That's all she said. Not hey. Not how was your day. Just what? Like I was in her way. I smiled. A small, broken smile. Nothing. Just you looked happy. She stared at me, suspicious now. I could see in her eyes, she thought I knew something. I leaned in, kissed her cheek, and whispered, "It's nice to see you smile again." She didn't respond, just turned away. But I saw her expression shift in the hallway mirror. Not guilt, not sadness, fear. And I knew then, she wasn't just hoping I'd leave quietly. She was scared I might not. That night, I opened a hidden notebook from my college days. The one I used to sketch business ideas in. Now it became something else. Page 1. Operation Exit. Gather evidence. Stay quiet. Finds. Don't let her know I know. They thought I'd just sign the papers and disappear. They didn't know the man I used to be before I met Madison. I wasn't weak. I wasn't a fool. I wasn't done. You don't just lose your wife. You lose the version of yourself you built around her, and I was about to meet the man who replaced me. After I read those emails, my world shifted. It wasn't just about betrayal anymore. It was about deception on a level I couldn't even wrap my head around. Madison hadn't simply fallen out of love. She had replaced me. And now I had to figure out who had stepped into the spot where I used to stand. I couldn't go to friends. Not yet. Couldn't alert her. Couldn't start yelling like some dramatic movie scene. No, this needed calculation. Control. The kind of quiet revenge that grows in silence and strikes when they least expect it. So, I played the game. Pretended I didn't know a thing. I smiled when she walked past me. I cooked dinner like nothing was happening. I even kissed her forehead once, just to watch her flinch. Inside, though, I was unraveling her piece by piece. I started with the phone bill. We had a shared mobile account. She forgot that. I never changed it because there was never a reason to. That night, I logged in, and there it was. A repeated number, showing up nearly every night between 10 p.m. and midnight. Texts, calls, sometimes 40 minutes long, sometimes 5. Always after she locked herself in the guest room with her wine and her Bluetooth earbuds. The number wasn't saved, but it had a location. West Loop, Chicago, just a few miles from our home. I copied the number, searched it through an old skip tracing tool I had used back when I worked in collections. And boom, Zachary Collins, age 36, occupation, real estate broker, divorced, no kids, no recent employment history on record, until 6 months ago when he joined a boutique investment firm. I clicked on the firm's site, and there he was, smirking from the About Us page like he didn't just help dismantle someone's marriage. Zachary. Z. I couldn't breathe for a second, just stared at his face. He was the complete opposite of me. Slick, tanned, perfect teeth, flashy suit, confident posture. He looked like someone who made women feel important until they became inconvenient. And now I had to ask myself the ugliest question of all. Was Madison already with him before the money came in? Or did she find him after? The idea that they had orchestrated this together made me nauseous. Maybe it was no coincidence that Madison's great-uncle left her property holdings. And maybe it was no coincidence that Zachary Collins had real estate connections. Was he helping her appraise the house? Sell it? Flip it? Was I just a stepping stone? A name to legally erase before they could start fresh? I didn't confront her. Not yet. Instead, I made a quiet visit to Zachary's office. I didn't walk in. I parked across the street with a baseball cap pulled low, coffee in hand, and watched. He came out around 5:15 p.m. No rush. Expensive watch. Black Range Rover. Talking into his AirPods like he owned the world. He wasn't scared. Not yet. But he would be. That night, Madison didn't come home. She texted at 8:12 p.m. Staying with a friend tonight. Don't wait up. No explanation. No name. No address. Just a lie typed casually like I was too dumb to question it. I stared at the message for a long time, then deleted it. No reply, no reaction. Let her think I was finally breaking down. Let her feel safe. Because people stop hiding when they think they've won. The next day, I visited our bank. Not to withdraw anything, just to check account activity. We had a joint savings we rarely touched, just emergency funds, mostly, but something had changed. A transfer, $20,000 gone. Moved to a new account I didn't recognize. I asked the teller for more details. She said it was Madison's authorized transfer. She'd come in 3 days ago with a financial planner. Let me guess, Zachary in a suit. I asked for the signature copy. The teller hesitated. Sir, I need manager approval. I smiled. I'm not making trouble. I just want to protect myself before this gets legal. She sighed, printed the request. There it was, Madison's signature, and a second one. Not his full name, but initials. ZC. They weren't even trying to hide it now. They were building a future together. Moving money. Transferring assets. And she wanted me gone before I could notice. That night, I sat in our living room and stared at the divorce papers again. I still hadn't signed them. And now I never would. Not without a war. She walked in at 11:30 p.m. No explanation. Hair curled. Lipstick faded. Smelling like hotel soap. She barely looked at me. Didn't expect you to still be up. I didn't even blink. Hard to sleep these days. She shrugged, heading to the guest room. I followed her with my eyes. Not a single word. She didn't say good night. Good. I didn't need lies in the dark. That night, I wrote in the notebook again. If I'm being removed like a pawn, I'm going to flip the entire board. In the following days, I started preparing. I hired a private investigator, a quiet one, a woman named Eliza, recommended by someone I trusted. She didn't ask questions, just nodded and said, "You want the truth or the proof?" Both. Eliza worked fast. Within 48 hours, she had photos. Madison and Zachary. Downtown hotel. Hand in hand. Elevator doors closing. Champagne at a rooftop bar. She was smiling, laughing, leaning on his shoulder like I never existed. I stared at the pictures for a long time. And what shocked me the most wasn't the cheating. It was how happy she looked. Not guilty. Not hesitant. Just free. Like the marriage had been the cage. And I was just the warden she needed to escape. That night, I cried in the shower. I didn't want to, but it hit me. All at once. Not just the betrayal, not the lies or the money, but the realization that she didn't love me anymore, and maybe hadn't for a long time. Maybe I'd been holding on to an illusion, fighting for someone who was already gone. But then I remembered the voice message she once left me on our second anniversary. Still saved in my phone. Aaron, I don't know what I did to deserve you, but I hope I never lose you. You're home to me. Home. Now she wanted to kick me out of that very home and hand it over to her lover like I was a temporary guest. I stood in the bathroom mirror, stared at the man looking back at me, the bags under his eyes, the clenched jaw, the heart torn to pieces. But underneath all that, something stronger was waking up. Resolve. Purpose. She thought she'd won, but she had no idea who she was playing with. They thought I was out of moves. But sometimes the quietest man at the table is the one with the deadliest hand. It's strange how the heart can shatter, and yet you still function. You wake up, you brush your teeth, you eat toast, you water the plants, you smile at the neighbors, all while knowing your wife is in love with someone else, plotting with him to erase you from her life like a smudge on glass. But I didn't scream, didn't throw a fit, didn't break things or beg her to love me again. No, I stayed still, because storms aren't born loud. They begin in silence. I waited, and I watched. That week, Madison became careless, more confident. She thought she had me exactly where she wanted me. Numb, broken, slowly backing away from the life I'd built with her. She didn't realize I was documenting everything. Every text she sent me, every unexplained absence, every mysterious transaction, photos, receipts, printouts, bank statements, all backed up, all organized, all time-stamped. And Eliza, the PI, kept feeding me fuel. Hotel rendezvous, luxury dinners on our shared card, Zachary using my driveway when I wasn't home. The man had the audacity to step into my house sleep in my sheets, drink my wine, and smirk about it in broad daylight. But I wasn't ready to explode. Not yet. I needed to finish the chessboard. I reached out to a divorce attorney, a real shark, someone who didn't flinch at ugly. He reviewed everything, quietly, strategically. Your wife's inherited money is hers by law, he said. But the house? That's still joint property. And her financial entanglement with another man? That could shift everything. We filed for a countersuit. Not divorce on her terms, but on mine, with claims of marital fraud, asset manipulation, and intent to defraud a spouse. He smiled when he read through the evidence. This is going to get messy. But you're walking out with more than just dignity. Meanwhile, at home, I stayed quiet. She cooked occasionally now, trying to keep up appearances. She even offered to talk one night. "We can make this transition smooth, Aaron," she said, sipping red wine like we were negotiating a car lease. "No need to drag lawyers into it." I tilted my head. "Of course. Let's keep it peaceful." She smiled, relieved. She thought I was folding, and I let her. That night, I even made her dinner. Chicken piccata, just like she liked it. Poured her wine, let her laugh at her phone. She went to bed humming. She had no idea I'd already frozen the joint account the night before. The next morning, the first shock hit her. "Why can't I access the account?" she asked, walking into the kitchen in her silk robe. I shrugged. "Bank's probably just flagging the activity. You know, all those transfers you made to your new planner." She froze, just for a moment. "What are you implying?" "Nothing at all," I said, sipping my coffee. "I trust you." She didn't speak again, just walked away. But her fingers were twitching. The first crack. 2 days later, Eliza delivered the final blow. Zachary wasn't just some sleazy real estate guy. He had pending fraud investigations tied to previous property scams. Nothing formal yet, but enough to rattle a cage. Turns out, he had a history of seducing women into selling or transferring assets, then vanishing with a cut of the profits. He'd even changed his last name 6 years ago, from Zachary Kleinman to Collins, likely to bury the trail. And now, he had latched on a Madison like his next paycheck. I printed everything, put it in a slim black envelope, and placed it in her briefcase while she was out. Just a small gift for her next planning session. That evening, I sat in the living room as she came in, dressed in a tight green dress and heels that screamed "not married." She didn't notice me until she opened her bag. Then silence. I watched her read through the documents. Photos, legal flags, bank printouts. She sat down slowly, eyes never leaving the paper. "Where did you get this?" she finally asked. I stood up. "Calm, clear. You left the gate wide open, Mads." "I just walked through." "You've been spying on me?" "No, I've been protecting myself. Something you clearly stopped doing the moment you started sleeping with him." She swallowed hard. "You have no idea what you're getting into." I smiled. "Oh, but I do. You see, I was your husband. I know how you think, and I know exactly where this was going until you forgot who you were dealing with." She didn't say another word. She walked into the guest room and slammed the door. That night, she didn't sleep at home. The next day, the lawyers sent her the countersuit. Filed. Official. Claiming emotional damages, financial manipulation, and joint property obstruction. She called me that afternoon. "You're going to regret this, Aaron." "No, I regret trusting you, but I'm correcting that mistake." Then I hung up. And yet, the hardest part wasn't revenge. It wasn't gathering evidence or signing legal forms. It was mourning the woman I used to know. I still remembered her falling asleep on my chest during movies. How she used to play with my wedding ring while we drove. How she whispered, "I love you," like it was a sacred promise. I missed that version of her. Not this stranger wrapped in greed and secrets. But that man, the one who loved her blindly, is gone now too. And in his place stands someone patient, precise, and unafraid. Because the real fight hasn't started yet. And I wasn't just walking away. I was going to take back everything she tried to steal from me, including my dignity. They planned to humiliate me at dinner. Instead, I served them a course they'll never forget. You'd think it'd be hard, eating dinner with 2 people who stabbed you in the back. But when you've already buried the pain, when your tears have dried, when a mask fits tight, and your heart no longer beats for them, that kind of dinner becomes an execution. Only they didn't know who was sitting at the head of the table. Madison texted me that morning. Dinner tonight. One last conversation before lawyers take over. Zach will be there. Let's be civil. Civil. She meant corner me. Overwhelm me. Break me with two sets of eyes instead of one. But I've been waiting for this. I texted back. Of course. Looking forward to it. I dressed like it was a normal evening. Gray button down. Leather watch. No tie. No thread. The house was spotless. Her design touches were still there. The blue velvet runner, the floating candles, the ridiculous wine decanter she bought in Paris. She thought the ambience would soften me. What she didn't realize was, I brought the matches. They arrived together. Zach walked in like he already owned the place. Hand in his pocket. Slight smirk. That smug posture of a man who'd never been punched hard enough. Madison followed. Hair perfect. Dressed tight. She was trying to look like a trophy, not a traitor. They sat across from me at the dining table. Aaron, she began, that rehearsed voice smooth as silk. We wanted to have a mature conversation. About the transition. Of course, I said, folding my hands. Speak freely. Zach leaned forward, eyes gleaming like a fox catching scent of a wounded animal. We don't want this to get uglier than it has to be. Let's be adults, man. I nodded calm. So tell me, Zach, what exactly do you do for a living again? Aside from seducing married women into selling their husbands' homes. He blinked. Madison stiffened. Aaron, don't start. Oh, we've started, sweetheart, I said, leaning back. This dinner was your idea. I'm just making sure everyone's honest. Zach scoffed. You're pathetic, man. I smiled. And you're under federal investigation for real estate fraud. But I suppose we all have our flaws. That hit. His eyes narrowed. Madison hissed. Where are you getting this garbage? Same place I got the footage of him using my driveway while I was at work. The same place I got the transaction logs, the hotel visits, and, oh, those lovely texts between you two. You really should have picked a stronger password. Her face flushed crimson. Zach stood up. You've been spying on us? No, I've been documenting the people who try to ruin my life. Difference. I stood up too, but slowly. No yelling, no threats, just calm fury. You two thought I'd just crawl away, that I'd sign the papers, leave the house, let you play couple in the ruins of my marriage. You thought money erased guilt, that an inheritance makes betrayal legal. But what you forgot is I'm still your husband. And this house, this life, still mine. Madison's lip trembled. We didn't mean for it to happen like this. I laughed, quiet, bitter. You meant for it to be clean, secret, disposable, just like me. I walked to the bar cart, poured myself a glass of bourbon. Zach moved toward the door. You're insane. No, I am awake. I took a slow sip. You know, Zach, you made a lot of stupid moves. But walking into the house of a man you betrayed, when your name's already flagged in 2 states, that might be the dumbest yet. He froze. Madison turned pale. What did you do? I placed a folder on the table. Inside, copies of the countersuit, evidence packages, an outline of pending legal motions, subpoena requests tied to Zach's real estate dealings, a formal request for property freeze. I didn't do anything, I said. I just told the truth. To the right people. They didn't speak. They didn't move. I walked back to my seat and took another sip. This dinner, this wasn't for closure. This was the final courtesy. Then I looked at Madison. Really looked. You had everything, Mads. A man who loved you through storms. A home we built. A life full of forgiveness. And you set it all on fire for what? For a fraud in designer shoes. You could have told me you were unhappy. You could have walked away clean. But you chose lies. And now you get to eat them. Silence. Thick. Heavy. Final. Zach reached for Madison's arm. We're leaving. Good, I said. Make sure it's fast. My lawyer starts the asset hearings next week. I'd hate for you to still be in my guest room when the sheriff shows up. Madison looked at me one last time. Something in her eyes. Not love. Not regret. Fear. And just like that, they left. The door clicked shut. And I exhaled for the first time in weeks. I sat there alone at the head of the table. No music. No sound. Just the soft hum of the ceiling fan and the smell of betrayal cooling on the plates. But I didn't cry. Didn't collapse. Didn't chase after her. Because when a man walks through fire and keeps his silence, he becomes something stronger than they ever expected. He becomes untouchable. I didn't burn the house down. I just made sure they couldn't light another match. I thought I'd won. I had the money, the man, the power, until I realized I lost the only person who ever truly saw me. I used to think power was money, that silence meant weakness, that if a man didn't scream when you heard him, he was already broken. But Aaron didn't break. He waited, and in that silence, he buried me with a kindness I didn't deserve. I remember the night I handed him those divorce papers. I had just inherited the money, over $10 million. Old family wealth, tied up in dusty legal knots for years. And when it finally cleared, something in me shifted. No more depending. No more boring, quiet life. No more Aaron's calm eyes and steady hands. I thought I wanted more. What I didn't realize was, more isn't always better. Zachary was exciting, younger, confident, flashy. He made me feel alive again, desired. And when he told me, "You deserve better. You deserve to live," I believed him. So I started planning. A clean exit. Sell the house. Leave Aaron with a check and a thank you. Start fresh with Zach and my new wealth. I didn't think Aaron would fight back, because he never had before. But he did. Not with fists. Not with threats. With precision. With receipts. With a lawyer who cut like glass. The day the countersuit came, I felt my chest tighten for the first time. I remember sitting in my car, staring at the folder, unable to breathe. Emotional damages. Marital fraud. Evidence attached. There were photos. Texts I thought were deleted. Bank logs. Hotel records. Zach's shady history laid out like a crime scene. And suddenly, it all felt real. Zach told me to stay calm, that it was just legal scare tactics. But he flinched when I told him Aaron knew about his fraud investigation. He left the next morning, just for a couple days, and never came back. No call. No message. Gone. Like smoke. The house felt cold after that. Quieter than ever. And for the first time, I noticed the details. The flowers Aaron always replaced on the table. The faint smell of cedar in the hallway. The worn corner of the sofa where we used to fall asleep watching movies. And it hit me. This wasn't just a house. This was a man's life. A man I'd loved once. A man who, even as I betrayed him, never once raised his voice at me. The last dinner we had together, I thought we were going in to finish him. But I walked out feeling like I'd just stood before a mirror and hated what I saw staring back. He didn't scream. He didn't cry. He just told the truth. And he made me see myself, not as a powerful woman, but as a coward hiding behind a rich man's shadow. Now, I live in a condo uptown, alone. I still have the money, but it doesn't feel like power anymore. It feels like silence, like weight. Sometimes I pass our old street. The house still stands. Not sold, not burned, not changed. It stayed as, because he stayed grounded when I flew off the rails. I wonder if he's happy now. I hope he is. I hope someone looks at him the way I used to, before I forgot what love looked like. Because the truth is, Aaron never lost. I did.